All right, welcome back to LWN Network tonight, folks. We've got a great show planned for you. Just a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff breaking. Vicious circle still going round and round and round. A lot of good out there as well. And we also have Jeff B in the background with us. So thanks for joining me this evening, Tammy. As usual, we're here and we're ready to pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, it is going to be an interesting, in-depth show, let's just say, and we have a lot to talk about that, just different theories and things as well. So I'm going to warn you now, you better take your Pepto-Bismol, you better have like an open mind and an open heart, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
Because things are crazy.
It's definitely, I'll share more about my own personal thoughts right after the monologue here. So on September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University for his American Comeback Tour event. He was speaking under a tent to a live audience when a single rifle shot was fired from about 142 yards to 200 yards. The bullet struck him in the neck, and chaos broke out instantly. The alleged shooter was identified as Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old who used a bolt-action rifle from the rooftop. Investigators recovered the rifle and shell casings at the scene, which makes the case look fairly straightforward on paper.
However, the confirmed truth is that Kirk was killed mid-event by a shot from above, and the evidence ties Robinson directly to it. What isn't fully clear is the motive. Was it purely political? Was it personal? Or was it the act of someone mentally unstable? Now that's where the conversation turns into a mix of fact and speculation.
First examinations is a lone gunman theory. This is the simplest answer, of course. One shooter, one rifle, one victim. It's tragic, but it doesn't require any large web of connections. It could have been politically motivated. It could have been just one person in a spiral.
And then there's the speculation. It's the political radicalization angle. Now, some people argue Robinson hated Kirk's politics and was radicalized online before carrying out the attack. Conservatives have already pointed to this as proof of leftist violence. Progressives push back, saying it's unfair to generalize an entire movement based on one unstable individual.
Another theory is that it is coordinated hit. Vital videos and circulating that show two men adjusting their caps and making strange hand signals right before the shot was fired. To some, that looked like evidence of compliance and spotters helping to set up the attack. To others, it's just a coincidence. Guys in the crowd doing normal movements and get blown out of proportion.
Now, we also have a fourth theory going on, you guys. It blames foreign agents. Because Charlie Kirk was known as a strong supporter of Israel, some conspiracy communities immediately pointed to Mossad or other foreign actors as being behind the attack. There isn't any evidence backing this up, and it fits more into the usual pattern of recycled conspiracies that pop up after high-profile unalivings.
Wow, that's it's crazy. I lost my spot because I was looking up. My bad. You go ahead.
I'll continue. Now, there's also, and this is what we're covering, you guys, in this monologue, are the different theories, and then we're going to go in depth to these once the show starts. The false flag theory is another one gaining traction online. Now, people freeze-framed videos and point out things like Kirk's ring moving on his hand or a black spot appearing on his shirt, saying the whole thing was staged to serve political goals. Fact checkers have dismissed some of this as misinterpretation or coincidence, but once those images spread, the theory started growing anyway.
The final and probably most unsettling idea is that the domino theory. This suggests that Kurt's killing wasn't just an isolated event, but a spark. The first domino to fall in a new wave of political violence in America. People are already comparing it to the shot heard around the world at Lexington and Concord, except this time it's AR-15s, hashtags, and live streams instead of muskets and the revolution.
So it actually happened. The most likely explanation is still the lone shooter with a political motive or personal anger. It's still possible that it was more of a mental health spiral or a private vendetta. What seems really least likely to some is a Mossad, a false flag, or some multi-shooter Hollywood-style plot. But the truth is, in the modern world, reality matters less than the story people tell about it.
And right now, the story looks different, depending on who you ask. To some, Charlie Kirk is now a martyr for free speech. To others, he's just the last victim of America's political chaos. And to the internet, he has become a conspiracy puzzle piece, fueled endless theories. However, this was truly the shot heard around the world. Depends on what comes next, whether the country spirals deeper into peril and violence, or finally admits the temperature here is just heating up for more. It's at a boiling point.
So tonight, we mean no disrespect to any family members, nor do we take anything away from what Charlie has done. The world is celebrating who he was and the impact he made. He has created and now inspired a turning point movement. We are here to simply piece together the story of September 10th that seems to have some discrepancies and unusual anomalies we want to break down. We are covering the different theories being tossed around at this time as more information comes out.
Conversations are necessary, even the uncomfortable ones, as the way to move forward in the truth and faith. God bless Charlie Kirk and his family and all that he stands for. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play the outro, and we'll be back right after this, if it'll work. We'll see here. Give me just a second. Here we go.
Many times I walk the road with no end in sight and question my life. Countless times I've sacrificed and lost my way. I've been down this road before. I struggle with the pain when it pours. No one knows how I feel when I have to start again, and there's no one there to save me. Do you know how it feels when your world is gonna end, when I don't have a friend to stand with me? I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah, I'm gonna make a comeback and rise up this time. And look into my soul and see a graveyard, a crossroads filled with despair and defeat. Look into my eyes and see the haters call my name. Look into my soul and see redemption on its way. The demand is high, risk it all and put it all on the line. I'm gonna take my shot and never stop. I'm gonna swallow my pride and put it all on the line and rise up this time. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah, I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna make a comeback. I'm gonna claw my way back to the top. I'm gonna get it all back. My comeback is right there inside. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I just realized something, Tammy. That definitely had that thing in there that they don't like, and it pisses me off. I got to get some new video done because they just don't like certain things. So
Yeah.
here, I think we probably got an echo. There we go. Well, that should have killed the echo.
Yeah,
I forgot
it
to
did.
hit that. Okay. All right. Well, we do have Jeff B in the waiting room with us, and again, we've got a lot to cover tonight. A lot of different theories that are possible. We had a conversation with Jeff this afternoon on the phone that was, it should have been the show, honestly. It was really good. So let's go ahead and bring Jeff in from backstage. Hello, Jeff. How you doing this evening?
Good. Yourself?
Well, if I didn't have to update the computer 2 minutes before start time, I'd probably be a little less stressed out. But I think we got a hold on it, and it could be a train wreck tonight. But so be it. The conversation's not going to change. So we have a lot to cover. So I don't know which one of you would like to go first. But let's just go ahead and kick it off. Jeff, if you want to start kind of like how we started this afternoon with the phone call, you could start right there, and we can just kind of pick up and run with it.
Which part would you like to start with first?
Or we can go from the beginning. I think that, and I'm sorry that I'm overriding the boss, but I am. I'm sorry, sir. But what I was thinking was, let's start with the emotions and what we've been going through since this happened September 10th, because I think that's very important. That's what led us to our conversation today and to the show tonight, because as this progresses and more comes out, our emotions have changed. And actually, you said to me, LW, you said, I got out of my emotion and I started thinking logic, and that's where you brought Jeff B into the conversation to help us out, and it makes a lot of sense.
All right, let me start off then. I'll tell everybody. Obviously, when this all started unfolding on Wednesday, I was like everyone else here in America and around the world. I was glued to my phone. I was glued to the X. I was watching Fox News. I was doing anything and everything I possibly could to get any kind of information on what the hell is going on. And once I seen the video for the first time, that will never be erased from my memory. It will stick with me till the day I die. It was horrific, very graphic. Here I just talked about us getting taken down on YouTube and Facebook for a video about a comeback where all I'm doing is holding a piece of equipment. This was very graphic, and it is still on the internet. It is still being played over and over again. But Wednesday, it was even worse. I mean, it was every post on X was that video over and over and over again. So, of course, my first instinct was emotion. It was, holy shit, I can't believe this is going on. Led to anger. I was pretty pissed off about the situation. And then it led to sadness. I was sad for him. I was sad for his family. I still am. For his family, for his kids, for just everybody involved. And so Wednesday, Thursday, I was just kind of, I wouldn't say I was an emotional wreck, but I definitely was very emotional. It was hard to concentrate at work. I didn't really want to do anything else at work but to continue to try to get information. Of course, there was the manhunt. They were looking for the perpetrator, for the assassin, and so I was glued to my phone on that. So that was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at work, more of the same until I got off of work. And, there was so many great things, still are great things about Charlie Kirk, about them putting, memorial videos out, and all the things you start seeing, what he accomplished, who he affected, and everybody doing vigils and all this wonderful stuff. And so I went to a concert Friday night after work, and on the way home, I had just thought to myself, I said, this calm came over me, this peace, and I shared this with you guys earlier today. I started thinking about Charlie Kirk and about this young man because, of course, he had been apprehended. Allegedly, he's the shooter. And so this calm came over me where I just kind of felt like if Charlie was in the truck with me and I was having that conversation with him, how would he feel? And I truly believe that Charlie would have forgiveness, and he wouldn't want any hate toward anybody, and that just kind of set a peace of mind over me, and I just kind of just relaxed a little bit Friday night. Went, yeah, you know what, we're better than this, right? That doesn't mean we're not going to fight. That doesn't mean that there won't be justice. That doesn't mean that we're quitting. This is ignited. I think the biggest outcome in this whole thing is it's ignited this movement that can't be stopped. And we thought that about Trump, right? We thought that about MAGA. We thought that about when Trump got shot. But I believe that this is greater, that this is bigger. And so then I woke up this morning and I realized that I need to turn that emotional switch off, because somebody very dear and close to us, Tammy, always taught us, you never want to allow your emotion to dictate your intelligence. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great way to start tonight off. Don't allow your emotion to dictate your intelligence. So when that hit me this afternoon or this morning, I was like, damn it, I got to talk to Jeff. There's some shit bugging me. And so I picked up the phone. I called Jeff. He answered the phone. I brought you in, Tammy, and we had really an amazing conversation about everything. And that's what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to cover that conversation that we had earlier today, and all the different theories and all the different things that Jeff knows, and that the things that we're all seeing on the internet. I got a lot of stuff teed up on the computer. I don't know whether it's going to work great tonight or not, playing videos and showing you guys things, but the conversation is what I want to have. I want to pick up kind of where we left off this afternoon and bring everybody that's watching and everybody that's listening tonight into that conversation that we had this afternoon. And so remember that, folks. Don't allow your emotion to dictate your intelligence. Turn that switch off and start thinking logically, because you have to see what's right there in front of you. And if you're not paying attention to that, then you could be fooled. So I'm going to leave it there.
And I'll echo that with saying that I was emotional. I've been crying. I've been upset. I haven't really been able to do much. And I can't figure out why this all of a sudden hit way harder than anything before.
Anything. And that's what everybody's saying on the internet. I've seen grown men make comments on X and everywhere else where they said, I don't cry about anything. I cried about this. This hit me harder than anything. Charlie Kirk has affected the globe. I think he's affected the globe even almost bigger than what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, yeah, that was a global thing, but this is the question I'm going to ask Jeff B. Is this the shot that we were waiting for to hear around the world?
Well, I'll start off by saying that when I talked to you guys this morning, that was one of the first things that I addressed. If this, and I'll start off by saying I don't know either way. I pray for his family, I pray for him, but I'm going to throw some alternatives out there just by some of the photos that I have sent you guys. That stuff doesn't add up. The conversation that I had prior to talking to Monkey, I don't want to get into too much of the conversation afterwards with Monkey, just because there's some other stuff involved with it. But I think that this right here is the effect that they were hoping for when it happened to Trump.
Yeah, this is the Charlie effect at this point. That's what that is. And I want to preface this one more time before we get going too deep into this. We absolutely mean no disrespect to the family or anyone that's been involved with this. My heart goes out to each and every one of them. I pray for you. I pray for Charlie. We know that he's in a better place. So this is all speculative on our part. We don't have proof of a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight. I know a lot of people like to see receipts and all that shit. Hey, man, I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing. I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling. Jeff's going to tell you what he knows, and Tammy's going to share. You guys are going to share all this in the chat. But again, I can't say this enough. We love the family. We love Charlie Kirk. We love what this is actually, the positive that's coming out of this, because there's a lot of negative. But, man, this effect, the Charlie effect across this globe is massive. And so, again, take this with a grain of salt. You can take what information that we give you and chase it down yourself and figure out, make up your own conclusions. By no means do we feel like we got the inside scoop or we know what the hell's going on. There's just too much not adding up. So go ahead, Jeff.
Yep. So when I'll start the story off like this. Shortly after because I didn't know that this happened right away. I was doing some work in the shop, and I got a text from somebody saying, "Give me a call. We got to ask a favor." So I called the individual, and he gave me a tail number and asked me if I could send it over to somebody and run some data on it. And my first response was, I know you guys have very capable people of doing this. And the response was, we don't want to get our hands dirty. Okay. So I sent the information over. Monkey did a show on it. And in the middle of the night, last night, I believe. Yeah, it was last night. Probably about 2 a.m. my time. I get an email from him saying, "Hey, I'm pulling this. And by the way, there's numerous bombers heading overseas. Please let them know." So now Monkey does know the person because he's had a conversation with him. And so that's that part. Now,
Now you're talking about the plane, right, Jeff?
The plane that
Yes.
everybody talks about that
yeah,
they
the
said
plane that
went
everybody's
off,
talking about.
that left
Correct.
yeah.
The plane that was at the little airport there close,
Correct.
somewhere around 20 minutes you could be at the plane, and it just seemed very odd. I think you also told us that the national news had picked that up and was running with parts of that
Correct.
story as well.
Yeah, I was told that they weren't just going to use that one outlet, they were going to spread it out to others. And that's all I want to say about that conversation, just out of respect for Monkey and some other stuff. But I have been struggling with this, whether Charlie Kirk was assassinated or is there something else going on, because there's pieces of this puzzle that aren't fitting. There's nowhere for the pieces to go. um People have talked about, well, this black spot on his shirt is a mic or whatever. Okay, I'm no expert in audio. I don't do a lot of this, but if that's the case, why does he have a microphone in his hand? Is it a backup? These two pictures that I just sent you guys, I just got these, and I don't know if you maybe want to show the second one first, and then maybe the first one. It'll kind of
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm gonna
sure.
pull this up real quick because everybody knows what we're talking about here. So this right here is the private jet under the tail number N888KG. Left Provo Airport an hour after the shooting. So this is the plane in question. And again, I don't know anything about the plane either. This is the stuff that Monkey had put out, and then the national news had picked up and was running with it. It's definitely, I think it's something that should be questioned for sure. Where did you send that to, Jeff? Is it in our?
I sent it to you. I just sent it to you in Gmail, so you can
Okay,
pull
I'll
it
grab
up.
it.
So
All right,
basically, this
Go ahead.
plane thing, you guys, I saw the plane thing, and they were saying why did it leave, and where did it go, and oh, it went off radar, then it came back on, and then it was dismissed as it was no big deal. That happens with planes. However, that's what we're talking about tonight, is how things are progressing, and you hear that and then you discount it. You believe what you hear and you think, okay, it's no big deal. Then you hear what Jeff's talking about with Monkey and what's happened with the national news, and it just adds to the temperature of this, that there's a little more to the story than they're trying to hide versus putting it out there. They want us to forget about it. Now, these are the two pictures Jeff was talking about just a moment ago.
It's very, very cut and dry, very quickly, but there's also some numbers involved with that. 33 hours. They ended up getting. I mean, there's so many like number. I don't know what you want to call them.
Yeah, they call them demonic or
Yeah,
Yeah.
that a lot of this stuff falls into that category with the numbers, with 3,000 people being there. I mean, I've seen so many videos today of people dissecting that and explaining all that stuff. But so these are the two gentlemen. This guy here in the white hat with the white shirt, he was
holding
actually
the video camera.
Yeah, he was holding the video camera behind Charlie, and there's been military experts that have watched that video and said that these two gentlemen right here were definitely, in their opinion, they don't have any proof, but definitely in their opinion, that they were giving hand signals. Your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it could, the rubbing of the baseball cap, all of that. But what I want to point out before we go to the second picture, the guy with the sunglasses, you see how his hands are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you look at maybe that's the okay. So that's like a security posture position, where it's quick if something happens, they can, grab the guy, grab a weapon, whatever. The next picture is going to show another guy that's in his detail, but his arms are crossed. And you can kind of see what people were referring to as a pen gun.
Mm-hmm.
That there is, to me, really odd. If you're security detail, you don't have your arms crossed like that. So there's one piece. So when it looks that people are saying that the bullet hit the vest and ricocheted and went into his neck. The distance of the shot, the wind. I mean, there's so many things that just, to me, doesn't add up. And then what I told you this morning was I kept watching this video over and over again. And then it kind of hit me the way Charlie Kirk drawled almost reminds me of when somebody gets tased by a taser from police department or get shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder, and this is all completely theory, if this was a staged event, and I'm not saying it is or it isn't, is it possible that they use Charlie Kirk for the purpose that is happening now? I don't know, but it looks to me like Charlie was shocked because his head snaps back. And if you think if he was being shot from the left side, his body would go to the left because of the force.
Yeah, and that's the gentleman that's right to the right of him in the video. If you guys notice the guy in the green, and he has kind of his hand tucked under his left armpit. When you watch that video, which we're not going to play it here on the show, it's just too graphic, and I think everybody's seen it a million times. That's kind of what Jeff is leading up to here. Is it almost seems like the guy on the right side of Charlie Kirk, could have. He could have been somebody of interest for sure. So let's break this down real quick before you start, Tammy. I want to break it down about the 22-year-old from Utah. He's on the rooftop. He's got a 30-06. Because I got to ask Jeff some important questions here. I already know all the damn answers, but I'm going to ask him for the audience. So 30-06 from 200 yards, 142 yards. I've been hunting, and I can tell you the exit wound on a 30-06 is going to be pretty massive, at least in my experience. We also talked about it, Jeff. If he's getting hit from the front, wouldn't he tip over in his chair backwards instead of off to the left-hand side? So right. You have that part of it. Then you've got the guy to the right of him, and if he would have pulled the trigger on something, that would have shifted his body to the left. But when you're talking about a possibility of being somewhat tased, I'm not an expert in any of this shit, and I'm not pretending to be. I didn't do 6 months of training on YouTube and think I'm an expert. So I'm just bringing up things that I see, that I notice. His fist clenching when it all happened, muscles contracting. Again, I'm not a doctor or anything. I don't know if you sever your jugular there on your neck, if that makes you tense up or if it would make you relax. I know electrocution makes your muscles tense. Now, I did do some research today, and there is such a thing. Have you ever heard of a life vest, Jeff B?
No.
So a life vest is something that they have created that you wear on your outside, right? It's a defibrillator is what it is. Now, my mother has a defibrillator, but they put it under her skin. This is worn on the outside of your skin. Now, okay. It's a belt. It can be, and I can look it up real quick and pull it up on screen for you guys. It can be worn under the shirt. I don't know if it. I don't know if it comes with a remote. It doesn't have to have a remote. I mean, that's something that if you're going to be, say, shocked, it definitely would fit that theory. Now, as far as the vest, the bulletproof vest, I haven't ever been around anybody that's been shot wearing a bulletproof vest. I have not. I've watched a lot of Hollywood movies, and I don't think I've ever seen in a Hollywood movie where a bulletproof vest actually ricochets a bullet. In your experience in the field, Jeff, have you ever seen a bullet ricochet off of a vest, or is that vest designed to actually absorb the impact?
Yeah, I've never seen something like that, but it doesn't mean it couldn't happen, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Me personally, no. So with that, now so going through and watching this, and why, and maybe some people know this, maybe they don't. Bibi Netanyahu was the first one, basic world leader, to come out and express his condolences. Mm-hmm. But then Bibi also said something after the whole plane thing. He come out and said Israel did have no part in this. Why would you say that?
As a leader, a world leader like that, and as hot as Israel has been with us, there's no reason for him to do that. It makes no sense.
And now within the last 15, 20 minutes, Mike Flynn puts out a post, a letter of warning to Americans in the POTUS. And you had Trump reposting the break in case of emergency picture of Mike Flynn in a glass case. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to go through a couple just strictly theories. There's no evidence behind it. Um, I asked one person that I talked to earlier in the day prior to me talking to you, Mike, and I asked him some questions, and he told me that was way above his pay grade.
Here's the life vest defibrillator. Again, if you wanted somebody to get zapped, this is just one form of it. I mean, they got pads and all kinds of things you could, like a kg, what is it called,
EKG, yeah,
EKG that they could put on your chest and make you contract like what it seemed like he did.
right,
Again, I'm not an expert on it on any of that stuff, but I mean, if you're talking Hollywood shit, this would be something that they could obviously make happen. They could make the thing on the neck pop and things spill out. Not saying that that's what happened. I'm just speculating that if we're looking at everything and we're turning the emotion off and looking at things as logically as you can, and we've been lied to lots of times, it just, all this stuff's not adding up. Is this a part that he's playing, or did this gruesome act actually happen, and for other reasons? Like there's so many things we talked about today, and what it possibly might be versus just a 22-year-old boy who was upset with him and decided he was gonna. And we're gonna talk about that too. And what I got a video from Michael Savage that he put out a day or two ago that I want to play tonight too, because I want to talk about the kid. Like, this does not make sense, Jeff.
well, and here's something else that just come out, and I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but now they're reporting that his roommate is transgender.
Yeah,
From male to
Okay,
female. Yep.
so they had to throw that in there.
had to.
That has,
And why
yeah,
did they do that? Because it triggers a base, right?
right,
It triggers the conservative base, because the conservatives, most conservatives, I would say, a good majority of them don't agree with any of that. So that triggers you emotionally, so that you start thinking that way. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Don't allow this stuff to get you emotionally charged, because that's what their intent is.
right. So before I go into what possibly the three other scenarios are, um, we talked today about Air Force Two being
Yeah.
taken to retrieve his body. We talked about the proposal for his body to lie in state. We talked about President Trump awarding him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Um, Now, not taking anything away from it,
No.
here's my question. Why wasn't anybody from Extortion 17 afforded this? Why wasn't anybody from Afghanistan that was killed during the operation that they made a movie out of? Why weren't any of these guys afforded this opportunity? Not taking anything away from Charlie Kirk, but in comparison, these guys did a hell of a lot more for the country than Charlie Kirk did.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was never afforded to him. Rush Limbaugh never had this treatment.
Correct. Tammy, you've been wanting to say something. I'm sorry I cut you off earlier.
That's okay. Well, first of all, there's a video that we have that shows the hand signals because, I know people have probably seen it, but the video is good because it shows the hand signals some of these people were making, and then it goes to the military aspect of these hand signals. But if you play it, it's like the fourth one down, 1, 2, 3, 4 that I sent you. The girl is talking at the beginning, and then you hear the bang at the end, but no, you don't see anything. So just keep the volume down because the visual is enough with the text. So as we're putting all this out here, it isn't conspiracy. It isn't this and that. It's like trying to put pieces of a puzzle together. And once again, this has unified people across the country and the world and woke a lot of people up more than anything has in a very long time. But there are also still, as you look at that and you carry on, you have to realize what really did happen as we go through these anomalies, and we want the truth. Because just because we see something that we like doesn't mean we ignore if it was faked, not faked, or part of a psychological mind that has been going on, because I have been totally emotionally drained like most people. You see these videos, you see what happened to him, but it provoked such emotion and such, because Charlie Kirk did nothing but try to unify people and give them a voice. Charlie Kirk was not violent ever, and that's what people have to remember as well. They unalived the one person that was willing to hear them and have a conversation with them. And that is crazy to me, totally crazy, because we've been talking for so long here about having the ability to communicate and not be violent against one another. But we've watched the violence build from the summer of love on, and now they're unaliving people. They're unaliving people that are just trying to have conversations. It makes absolutely no sense, especially when you tie in the stuff that we're talking about with this young 22-year-old male. So I don't know if you want to play the video now.
You're gonna have to. I'm lost. I've got so many tabs open. I'm tired of clicking. So if you want to find it and play it, Tammy, great. So let me piggyback on what Jeff said about Charlie Kirk and Air Force 2. Now listen, I agree with Jeff. I don't want to take anything away from Charlie Kirk. I think what he has done in 10 years is totally amazing. I think people should continue that. I think our voices should get bolder, louder, and stronger for sure. Totally agree with all that. I don't look at Charlie Kirk as minimize what he did, but I want to put in perspective for you guys what Jeff's talking about with 13 hours, the stuff that happened over in Afghanistan, and all the stuff, and certain people who gave everything also did not get this presidential, man, it's just amazing what they're doing for Charlie. So again, Charlie Kirk started a company, the Turning Point. It's doing $92 million a year, I believe, somewhere around that. He's started platforms across America at many colleges. Wait a second before you play it, Tammy.
I will.
And basically his whole thing is he goes across the country and speaks to college students, and he's trying to get discourse coming back because it's been lost here in America. And so he's talking to college students. He's debating them. He does it very, very nicely. He's not rude to them. He's not mean. He's not aggressive. So I think that's wonderful. But when in U.S. history, and I did not, to be fair, I did not research or Google this, but when in U.S. history has a private citizen ever got this type of treatment where you ride on Air Force 2, you got the Vice President of the United States walking with you in your casket. They're talking about placing his body in the rotunda there in the Capitol, which is a huge honor, getting the Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian medal that you can get. And there is whispers. I'm not saying it's true, but he is a martyr, and I've heard some people say, they should announce him as a saint. Like, sainthood is a huge thing. I'm not a Catholic, but I would imagine that's a pretty massive honor as well. So he's getting all these honors. Jeff and I also talked this afternoon about all this money that is now starting to pump into the family. His kids never have to worry about paying for college, which I think is amazing. There's NFL players, there's NASCAR drivers like Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's all kinds of people stating that they're going to pay for colleges and they're going to do this. And I think I read something where Eminem and Kid Rock are going to start some kind of deal in his name and in his honor. And I don't know if it's a scholarship fund for colleges. I don't know. But there's so much going on. Again, all good. All amazing stuff. Totally agree with it. Want to promote it. Want to get on board with it. But when? I just want you to think for just a second. When have you ever heard of a private citizen getting all these honors? And to me, that's something that I should question. Here's another point that Jeff and I made this afternoon, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jeff to comment, and then we'll play Tammy's video. When have you ever heard the Democrat Party be so fucking quiet? So quiet that you could drop a fucking pin and hear it. Why is the Democrat Party not screaming about them using Air Force Two, that's taxpayer money, or any of this stuff? Of course they booed during the moment of silence, but don't you think that some of the Democrats would be screaming about this? Why are we, I mean, they would be trying to point the Republican Party out and J.D. Vance and everybody on, hey, why are you doing this? Now we know that Nancy Pelosi flew her alive son on Air Force Two and went over to Taiwan or whatever, but I'm just asking the question, Jeff.
Right. I mean, I brought that up to you this morning.
Yeah.
Why it's not what they're saying, it's what they're not saying that bothers me. And like I said, I don't know what to think of this. And we'll get into, what possibly I think is going on. And you'll have to have a very open mind. Because some people are going to say there's no way this can happen.
Tammy, you want to go ahead and play the video?
Yeah, and I was going to say, we also weren't sure we're going to hear about the shot heard around the world. We thought that was going to be Trump, and this turned out to have a lot more effect immediately over that. So let's get back to here. This is the video, you guys, that shows hand signals. Now, if this was just, and this is all over the internet, so you know that the FBI, you know that all Charlie's people, everybody has seen this video, and nobody has come out and talked about it. Right? They're just letting it lay out there. They're not discounting it. They're not saying, oh, these were just Charlie's people giving codes. This is just normal. Nobody is saying anything. So
Nobody's
just have
disputing it.
Yeah, nobody's disputing it. So let's just have a quick look at this.
There's the hat. Now here comes the next guy. This is the guy that Jeff was talking about too in his posture. This looks like a baseball signal to me here coming up. So did that tip of the hat. Yeah, I can't. That print's so small I can't read it.
It's talking about imminent danger and the signals crossing and all the different movements that it goes into the military.
His nose. Now here comes this guy.
Arm
that
crossed
doesn't look
over.
normal to me. I'm sorry, that don't look normal.
None of that looks normal because it's continuous. When even if you can't read the military interpretation, the continuation. See that? Those we see in football and baseball and everything else. We don't see that kind of stuff, basically, in things like this. So that's all there is to that. But so these are just the things about looking closer, looking into detail, and wondering why there is silence over it. I don't recall seeing any of that at a Trump rally ever. I don't remember ever seeing that at a Charlie event ever on campus.
No, Joe Carroll. It's not the same guy that was with him in Butler, Pennsylvania, and I'm pretty sure that Jeff can attest to that. The security guy, Jeff, doing the arm signals, that's not who they think it is, correct?
No.
No.
Here's the when the second guy with the sunglasses, when he reaches out from that view, does he? I know you really can't see it, but does he touch Charlie Kirk when he does that hand signal?
From the angle, I cannot. It looks like it, but from the angle, I cannot say for sure he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I personally think what that was. Okay, if you want to go down that route, that they were signaling to somebody ahead, sniper, whatever. The second guy, I think, was signaling to the guy down below that when he was hit, he turned around, raised his hands up, and knew exactly where to look at the camera. When he rose his hands up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The guy that jumps up and waves at the camera right
Correct.
after the shot.
Correct. Now, I think possibly the second signal in a conspiracy world was the trigger to possibly, if we go down one of my alternative, is to signal Charlie to brace for the shock of the vest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be.
Well, and a simple question I have, which seems like it would have been taken care of, is the guy was on the roof, and didn't that happen with Trump and Butler? Why is nobody protecting roofs when they know the climate that we're in and they know the threat that they've been under? That roof is right there, and the dude was there. That makes no sense to me that there wasn't protection there. Some kind of protection.
I mean, I'm sure Charlie gets threats, right? But
sure.
he is not the president of the United States.
Correct.
So I can see why security would be pretty light for Charlie. Some of the interviews after, students were saying, yeah, we walked in, bags, nobody checked us. Like, the security was so light, Tammy, nobody's checking the roof. I mean, did he get threats that said, hey, we're going to end you at Utah? Possibly. I don't know. Then why didn't they take it more seriously, right? That's what you're saying.
Well, I just know that maybe because the event, I went to Charlie Kirk's event in Florida, and maybe the security we went through and everybody that was there was insanity, even inside the building. Maybe that's because Trump was going to be there, but that security did not even leave once Trump left. So, I mean, it was amazing. It was lots of waiting. It was lots of stuff. There were dogs everywhere, and it was very extreme.
Well, Trump was going to be there. That's the main reason why.
Yeah,
right?
Probably. But
okay, so let's move to the shooter himself, and we had an extensive conversation about this. I seen this. Okay, so when I was emotionally charged, and I told myself I'm not diving into any conspiracy theories. Wednesday, Thursday, I was totally out of the realm of conspiracy. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to think about it. I saw Michael Savage come up here and talk about this. I totally dismissed it and said I don't want to hear it. Because I was emotionally charged by what had happened to Charlie Kirk. You know, I just was sick to my stomach. I mean, there was a pit in my stomach for 2 frickin' days. Once, and we'll get to this here soon too, so stick with us tonight. Once I saw that stupid son of a bitch Rattletrap on X post the thing about the Amazon books, I went, come on, there's no frickin' way. I went to Amazon, and sure enough, what he had posted was right frickin' there. We're going to talk about that tonight, so stay tuned. But once I saw the books, I saw the publish date, and I'll talk about how they wrote the book so fast. Just like somebody had made comment earlier about how do they write these songs so fast. I actually have a very good friend of mine who sent me a song last night that he wrote about Charlie Cook or Kirk. God, I keep saying that. A lot of it, they use AI. He used AI. It writes it pretty fast. It really doesn't take any time. I can write a song and produce it in like 15 minutes on AI, and Tammy knows that for a fact. I've done it. It can be done. So that's how they wrote the songs so fast. That's how they're writing the books so fast. They're using AI. But so the books triggered me, and then this morning, when I said that I turned off emotion and turned on logic, this was sent to me by Joel. I listened to it again, and then I called Jeff, and we started having this conversation. So I want to dive deep into the shooter himself, the assassin. So let me unmute this over here. I'm going to play Michael Savage, and then we're going to talk.
Risking an awful lot to go up against this FBI, the MAGA FBI. Something's very wrong with what I just heard. I mean, I watched it. I was hoping that they had caught the bastard who shot Charlie. So we saw a video of a person jumping off the roof. It looked very legitimate to me. However, there was no rifle in his hand. Now, the Mauser does not break down very easily, incidentally, for those of you who know weapons. Something's wrong with the whole thing. They're trying to claim he removed the barrel from the Mauser and fit the receiver and stock in his backpack and barrel in his pants leg all in 2 seconds. It is not easy to remove a Mauser barrel or index it after reinstalling and remain accurate. We are not hearing or seeing reality. And by the way, the photo of the rifle allegedly left in the woods has the barrel installed. So we're supposed to believe a guy is on the run after killing Charlie Kirk, and he pauses in the woods to reinstall a barrel, and then he leaves it for us to find, the FBI to find. I don't believe a word of it. I shouldn't do this. I know I'm putting myself at risk, but I can't take it anymore. I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us. Something's wrong. Something's so wrong, it's sickening. Look at this idiot. They found the rifle and they're getting the prints. Are you stupid? Are you that stupid? Are you that dumb? The man jumps off the roof. There's no rifle there. Oh, it's in his backpack. I just told you, moron, that this rifle doesn't break down that easily. And then it's supposed to be reassembled while he's on the run. Wait, I'll stop now. And reassemble it and leave it in the woods in a box.
Yep.
Wrapped in a towel. He left breadcrumbs. Oh, and the trans stuff on the cartridges. Bullshit. Something is wrong with this whole fucking picture. I am persona non grata in this White House. I will tell you right now. I flew with Donald Trump in Air Force One. I consider him close to me. I have not been able to get near him since this administration took hold. They have thrown me out. They have castigated, thrown me in the desert. They don't want me near them. They don't want real truth tellers near them. Sean Hannity immediately, that pimp scumbag, goes on the air and repeats the government lie, that lousy son of a bitch. How the fuck does Sean Hannity live with himself? Something's wrong.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me stop share. Okay, so let's dive into this, and we're gonna get deep into the weeds here, because I had a very lengthy conversation with Jeff B today about this scenario, and so this is what I asked Jeff B. I'm gonna repeat myself. Jeff B., you served our armed forces in the Navy, correct?
Yes.
You were on certain operations overseas, correct?
Correct.
Now, you had some amazing operators, I would imagine, that you worked side by side, and I would say one of the best operators, if they had this assignment and crawled on top of that roof, let's say that they did have a piece of equipment that could break down in half like that, they could probably put it together pretty quickly. I would imagine they would probably make a good shot. So how long from the time they pull that trigger would they be capable as a 30-year-old operative that's been in the military a good chunk of their life, had extensive training over and over and over again for this exact scenario, break that piece of equipment down, put it in their backpack, totally calm, because an operator is going to be fairly calm, especially somebody of my age or younger, or somewhere in that ballpark, right? They're going to have the stones to just kind of breathe. They're exercising. They've done this multiple times. They're going through it. They put it in the backpack. They crawl down off of the roof. They're heading for the woods. And oh, hey, wait a minute! I got a great idea. I'm gonna throw this son of a bitch back together. I'm not gonna throw it in the river next to me or in the dumpster or try to somehow discard this piece of equipment. I'm gonna actually stop what I'm doing. And mind you, he changed his clothes, because we got the video of the governor of Utah saying that he came in with certain clothes. He changed his clothes on the roof and looked different, and then when he got to the woods, he changed back into his clothes again that he came in with. So he's going to stop. The operator's going to stop, change his clothes back again. He's going to put the rifle back together and then wrap it in a nice warm towel so it doesn't get cold, so it stays hot, and places it in the woods where it's easy to find, and it's going to have all these nice carvings and paintings and everything on it, and then scurry off. Jeff B., how long would it take a good operator like that to accomplish that part of the mission?
I would say anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes. And it all depends on muscle memory movement.
Yes, muscle, memory, and movement. So hold on a second, Tammy. Now,
There's an echo.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Son of a bitch. Forgot to turn that off. I hope it wasn't echoing the whole time.
No.
Okay. All right. So now let's shift gears to a 22-year-old boy who's in college going for engineering. He kind of, I hate to say this, but he kind of looks like a doof. He does not look like he was very athletic. He doesn't look like he went to Utah for a football scholarship or basketball scholarship or wrestling. I mean, he doesn't look like he's that fit, like he's athletic, right?
Right.
And so you're telling me that he climbs up on a roof, he changes his clothes, he puts this piece of equipment together, he pulls the trigger, and a 22-year-old kid is going to have the sense and the calmness to breathe. He's going to break down this piece of equipment. He's going to put it in his backpack. Of course, Michael Savage just said that, where is it? I don't see it when he climbs down and jumps down off the roof. Then he's going to go to the woods, and he's not going to be scared to death and freaking out, and his heart's not going to be jumping out of his chest, and his anxiety is going to be taller than the damn trees that he runs into. He's going to stop what he's doing, knowing that he just did something that has changed everybody's life, and they're going to be looking for him. Like, they knew what direction that shot came from, and he's going to stop in the woods, and he's going to change out of his clothes, and then he's going to put this son of a bitch and piece of equipment back together instead of, again, discarding it, hiding it, throwing it in some bushes, doing something. He's going to put it together and then just lay it there in the woods and wrap it up in a nice, beautiful towel, keep it warm, with all of his wonderful carvings and paintings and sayings and all that shit, and then just gently walk off into the sunset. That is what Michael Savage is talking about. And let me tell you who Michael Savage is. I found Michael Savage in 2000. During the 1999 election campaign, going into the 2000 election with George W. Bush, I found Michael Savage when I found Sean Hannity. And Michael Savage is not somebody that puts out shit. Michael Savage is not somebody, to my knowledge, is not a conspiracy theorist. He doesn't hop on the conspiracy trains and throw all this shit out there. He seems like a very genuinely intelligent person, really wants to make sure he puts out the right information, but this shit is bugging him. This is driving him nuts, and that's why he put the video out. So now that I've set the stage for the conversation, the difference between a seasoned operative versus a 22-year-old pimple-nosed kid, let's start the conversation.
Well, go ahead, Tammy.
I'll just be real quick because Jeff is going to have a lot more knowledge about this, but that makes a lot of sense. And this is what I want to keep letting people know. You have to dig deeper. You can't just take the visual and buy the visual. You have to go deeper and use your logic, because if you get caught up in the emotion, of course, it's going to consume everything. And that is the reality. This little kid, he is like a kid. He's a young kid. To know the detail and to listen to people that know about ammunition and different equipment like that and what it takes to put it together, take apart, how heavy it is, will the backpack fit it, will it not. People like me who don't know those details will assume, okay, well, they said it's in the backpack and he carried it down, no big deal, done and over with. He had a limp after he jumped down, so they saw him limping across the grassy field in the video that they showed. But really, there's a lot more to it, and I love that we have the ability to have people that understand this to share this with you guys, because it is another red flag that we need to pay attention to, and that's all I wanted to say.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, so you have. I was on another YouTube channel, and I had somebody telling me that, you know, I have practiced shooting deer. I could make that shot, all this stuff, which is very possible. Good on you. But if that was the case, if this kid could do that, anybody could be a sniper. It takes a special breed of people in
Mm-hmm.
special forces to become snipers.
Mm-hmm.
You go through very rigorous training to do this kind of stuff. When I first went to Hawaii, after I got my orders to go to Ford Island, I start my check-in, and myself and another buddy that I knew from Morse code school were out there talking, and all of a sudden there's a pair of legs that come down from an overhang, picks my buddy up by his legs and throws him on top of the overhang. Now, I didn't see this at first. I'm like, where the hell did this dude go? I'm thinking, well, man, I must have really bored him that he just left. Well, then I standing there with our number one Russian linguist, and all of a sudden we kept hearing, get out, get out. And here this was BMC Dave Noble, who was the platoon chief. And I asked him, I said, how in the hell did you do that trick? Where did you come from? He goes, oh, I climbed down the wall. What do you mean you climbed down the wall? He goes, I just climbed out my window and climbed down the wall. He goes, it's all training and muscle memory movement. It just boggled my mind. But with this sniper, you I don't think anybody could be that calm, that collective to do something like that, because the first thing you're going to do is worried about is being caught.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the first guy that they took into custody, the older man, probably in his mid 60s,
I
they
believe
walked.
he was put there for a reason. The
Well,
old man.
right, and
Distraction.
they walked him through the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was hollering, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me!" Like it was total staged. It was he did that to give the other, I believe, to give the other kid or
Right.
whoever
And
a chance to make a move, or
But
for
really-
that plane to take off. Jeff.
right. Well, and really, you didn't have very many people throwing stuff at him, yelling at him. You just had a tragic event that took place in front of you. You think that crowd would be unruly. Granted, some of them ran.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing that kind of struck me as very odd. Um, and we'll get it. This is the other thing that I know we talked about, and I want to get in before I forget. before I mentioned this to you, I talked to a couple, but two of them are retired and two of them are still active, one of them being the big chair. And I asked him, I said, when have you ever heard of a director and a deputy director jumping on a plane and going to a crime scene?
Right.
And he said, never. And I said, so what's wrong with this picture? I don't get it. There's now, I have my theories, and we'll get into that when you're ready, but to me, that doesn't make sense either.
And this video is just, we don't even have to play it. This is just to back up what you were talking about. This is the man, George Zinn. He's the one that was arrested while creating the diversion of at the Charlie Kirk thing, okay? Mm-hmm. And in this other video, we don't even need to play it, but that's him next to it. He is actually talking about how he knew Al Qaeda was responsible for the 9/11 attack at the moment he saw the towers fall. So whether, that's true or not, the point is this is the same man, and he was one of them creating a diversion. And I find that very interesting as well, because it's another puzzle piece that even if there's crazies there, after that happens to Charlie, he's creating the diversion instead of allowing the authorities to do what they need to do, which was find the actual person or persons. He's creating distractions. So I just found that interesting.
If you want to play it, I'll go ahead and unmute and you can play.
Well, you don't really need to, because he's just talking about the 9/11 stuff and it's 6 minutes. So I just wanted to show people that we are backing up what we're saying.
This is the first guy that they picked up as a suspect. I mean, he wasn't charged. He was let go. Central casting. Possibility. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, go ahead and take it whatever direction you'd like to take it.
All right. So my first theory on all of this is if Charlie is deceased, who would want this kid deceased?
Mm-hmm.
Who does it benefit, right?
Right.
Who's it going to benefit for Charlie not to be around?
Right. So the first thing that came to mind to me is the drug cartels. Now, Charlie Kirk and the drug cartels have no connection. But Charlie Kirk and Don Jr. have a very good connection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So drug cartels are going to be losing billions of dollars with what Trump's about ready to do in Mexico and in Venezuela. So we don't want to risk going after POTUS, so let's get somebody close to him to send a message. That was my first rationale.
Mm-hmm. And just so you guys know, Don Jr., he refers to Charlie Kirk as brother.
Correct.
So when Jeff is saying we need to go after one of their family members, they can't get to the immediate family because of Secret Service. Who's the next best person on the list? Charlie Kirk? Question mark.
And just to send a message, right? So now we go back to the meeting that I told you guys that took place with the National Security Council, where Trump called in the top law enforcement. And he made it, one of them being Dan Bongino, I'm not going to be a part of this if something else is going on. Now, I was told that was about Epstein, but one of my next theory is, what if they brought Charlie Kirk into the White House and said, look, the effect that we were hoping the Trump attempt didn't have the effect that we wanted it to.
And you're talking about the shot heard around the world.
Correct.
To start the Great Awakening, to get the whole ball moving, if that's
Correct.
If that's the path that people want to
Believe. Yep.
Correct.
Exactly. So we'll bring in somebody that has a lot of influence, who talks to them at their level of the younger age. Maybe, and this is all hypothetical, they brought him in, Charlie Kirk in, and said, hey, what if we have this operation and we are going to 96 you, and you're not going to have anything. Your family's going to not want for anything. You're going to do your country a great service. Would you be open to doing this? Go home, think about it, talk it over with your wife, your family, come back to us.
And here's the thing, Charlie Kirk could have very well wanted to get out, and that's kind of what you're talking about here.
Correct.
So they're giving him the open door. Hey, and that kind of goes back to my whole, why is he getting the treatment that he's getting? Well,
correct.
if he's doing something or done something or giving something that great to his country for the cause, then to me that would mean that he would get those type of honors, right?
Right.
And that's all speculation on my part. I am not saying that that's what I think is happening. I'm just saying, if Charlie Kirk, all he's really doing is talking to kids across the United States and debate, does that justify him getting this special treatment? Or is there an underlining reason, like what Jeff is bringing up here, that, hey, he is doing something for his country, which would validate that, which would be this type of, whatever you want to call it, mission, operation?
Right. And, what Rising Phoenix says, there's no way Charlie Kirk would allow his daughter to see that. I agree. I don't know if they were there. I don't know Charlie Kirk personally. I don't know. That's just a theory that I have, but I agree with you on that.
But let's clarify. We're not talking about him being off. We're talking about.
Correct.
We're talking about
if it was something else.
Yeah, if it looked like that happened, and again, this is kind of out there.
It is.
But it's definitely interesting to at least toss around the idea.
Well, and you have to keep in mind the government does some very shady stuff, and it's just, you have to look at everything with an open mind, because we all know that we're not being told the truth. Right. I think both sides of the aisle know this, and I've never seen, just in my area, I have never seen teachers being fired like they have because of what they posted online. In the past 3 days, we've had 5 teachers fired in the 4 school districts in our area.
Right. And it's always young kids or young people that are pulling the trigger, apparently, on all these things as well.
It's the same playbook.
It's the same playbook every time. So that's why.
Every time. It's a transgender, 20-something years old.
Yes.
I don't believe all that stuff. I don't believe it for a minute.
And to tie into the Benjamin Netanyahu stuff, you guys can scroll through yourself with Candace
Owens has been putting her ass online.
Yes.
Lately.
Right. And basically there is also an Israeli that said your day will come. That's right there, because she's talking about all lies will be revealed. You can go through her feed, you guys, and it talks about how Charlie actually was getting into some trouble and fighting with some powerful billionaires that he took money from over things he was discussing. And she says the pressure was on him and it was immense over the last 2 weeks. She said the truth will be revealed, the messages will be leaked, and the movement he built will rise up. So she's talking about And that ties into earlier what LW said about Benjamin Netanyahu coming out and saying Israel had nothing to do with this and speaking on a citizen, Charlie Kirk. So this is another thing that feeds into Israel, Mossad, the plane, and everything else. It's just another avenue for you guys to go on, because why would Candace Owens bring this up? And she said on here, everyone was trying to manipulate me with Charlie would have done it the nice way. Maybe they missed the part when they blanked him in the throat anyway. So she's saying it's personal for her. She was good friends with him, and she's going to she took a day off. She is going to reveal all this different information, these texts and information and letters between Charlie and Benjamin Netanyahu that went back and forth. So once again, Israel is tied to Charlie recently.
Yeah, that I don't know much about, so I can't really speak on it.
Right. I'm just saying that's just another puzzle piece. I understand how people think that it's just some kid that goes crazy and does this, but when you say it's the same playbook over and over, yes, it is. How in God's green planet Earth here can they not catch that and realize if that's the playbook, why are there not safeguards put into place? I don't care if Charlie didn't have as much security as the president. You would think with the money he made, the ability, he would have somebody, one person on a roof and a couple people in the audience. They said they didn't have anybody go through security or anything because they don't want to scare the college kids. Well, I get that, but you would still want to protect Charlie. How much does it cost to put somebody on a roof? It just doesn't, some of it just doesn't make sense to me. That's all.
Joe?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is sloppiness. They don't take stuff serious. A lot of these, they don't think outside of the box. And, with a lot of this stuff, and I don't think we've seen even close to what's going to happen. Because, like I told you earlier, Mike, my one big person that I've talked to, radio silent.
Mm-hmm.
He was pissed off, and he told me that he yelled at Trump over going to the Yankees game. He didn't want that out. He didn't want him going, just because, they're worried about the Iranian angle. They're worried about the cartel angle. They're worried about the Venezuela angle. And that's what brings me to thinking maybe this was a cartel hit. I just don't know. There's so much there's so much information, and there's even more disinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. As more unravels and we find out more, it changes. And a little note I want to make too is we all know that Charlie was all about God and a Christian and all about his faith, right? But what threw me for a loop was Kash Patel when he came out in the presser after they had caught the suspect. And he gave a little talk about it. And at the end, he said, "This is for Charlie." And he gave this wonderful little statement. But he says, "Charlie, I will see you in Valhalla, not heaven." He didn't say not heaven. But my thing was, he didn't say, "I'll see you in heaven, brother. I'll see you on the other side, brother." He said Valhalla. Valhalla is where warriors go in mythology or whatever after they've been a warrior, and they're all celebratory, and it's a place they go to celebrate. I just thought that was an interesting wording for the FBI director to say to somebody who is so in the forefront of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. Here's something else that I just wanted to bring up. I just want to say, I pray for his wife. God, my heart goes out to her. I find it strange, no disrespect, but I find it strange that the most intimate moments in their marriage, I mean, this is goodbye. Mm-hmm. She's allowing photos She's allowing videos. She's allowing them to post the video on social media for everybody to see. I could get the one side where she's trying to show this love for her husband and wants the world to see it. I get that side of it, but I don't get, like, why isn't it private? Like, that's I don't know. This one kind of rubs me wrong a little bit. I don't know if I'm able to show this. Again, no disrespect. I had a hard time looking at this photo here when the video first came out. I see some bruising up here. I don't know if you guys are seeing my arrow here, but I did zoom in. I did finally see some bruising here on the hand. At first, when I saw that photo, I immediately thought, like everyone else, I thought, holy shit, this does not look I haven't seen, I can't really even speak on that because I haven't seen enough deceased people up close like that. I've never really paid attention to their hands, obviously. When I'm there for other reasons, but it just seemed odd. I know they put makeup on there. I know they manicure them and do all the stuff. But this was something that just kind of caught my eye. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. It seems to be circulating later today. It seems to be circulating the internet heavy right now, especially on the X. A lot of people posting this photo here. I am not bringing this up because I seen all those photos. I actually saw this earlier and went, man, that don't look right. And so I just would like to maybe get Tammy's thought on this. Maybe you can explain it a little bit better. I mean, the fingernails are very well manicured, and they probably do that when the morticians are taking care of the people, and you had shared some things with me I didn't know, so just I don't know,
well, I was gonna say it's just another thing, and it's a horrible picture, and it's very intimate, like you said, and I understand. This is I got so many thoughts because I go from one side of thought to the other. First of all, she is mourning. She is acting like a beautiful, strong warrior woman. I don't think I would be able to do what she has done in the short period of time. And my thought was I would be curled up in a ball in a bed at least for a few days, and then maybe doing something like this. I don't have the strength she has, so I commend her for the strength she has.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it could be makeup, it could be lighting, but it just doesn't look right. There's either that or they just didn't do a good job. In my opinion, I have been around those kind of, unfortunately, bodies a lot in my own family and stuff, and that to me was just too much. It just didn't look right. And I know somebody said, why is one button undone? It means something in the keyboard and all that.
Yeah,
and when you start
she's got a ring on there for G.
So when
they started bringing that up.
Yes.
That I don't know, and that I don't know if I'm on board with any of the numbers and all that.
Right, exactly. Stuff. But what I'm saying is, no matter what happens these days, even something as intense and personal as this, there's still people that take it over here, and then there's people that see it like me, and then their heart just breaks for them. And you think about the strength and courage and determination she has.
Yes.
To share this with everybody. So I'm torn because this is, and I think this is what the government, the bad people, the good versus evil want. It isn't about us being separate anymore. I think what is, as far as like, oh, I think I'm right and she's right about the details, that doesn't matter. What I think this has done is shown us good and evil. Either we are going to be at peace and fight the good fight and be godly people, or we are going to be like the demons that have come out, laughed, made fun of, and at his passing. And that's what I think. And she is showing all this stuff, and it is creating, what is that creating? An emotion, a visual that we don't normally get. And that was interesting to me too, because normally they don't show stuff like that as fast. We have been watching the entire journey of him leaving from Utah, going back to Arizona, her holding him in the coffin. We've got the video of her saying, "I love you." God bless you. I
Man,
mean,
it's hard.
so
It's hard. It's hard to
terrible.
watch.
Yes, it
It
is.
tears my heart out. She is a very strong woman. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand why you would put that out there. Maybe she's doing it for the people that love Charlie Kirk, and more power to her for being that strong woman to do that. I praise her for that. I pray for her. But if you're looking at everything, if we're really trying to look at this logically and not emotionally, the kid really hangs me up. That right there. I don't know. It just is. That's not adding up for me. And then so once I start thinking about that, then I start looking at everything. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. So I just asked somebody who's known me for 40 plus years, who's seen a lot of dead bodies, and knows that I'm batshit crazy from every hour of my life. And I just asked her, didn't tell her who it was, is that real or fake? And she looked at the hands and she said, fake.
And
I
that's
don't
what
know.
that's what I'm saying about keeping an open mind, because this is so personal, vulnerable, and emotional. And they were such good people with beautiful children, and they had so much life ahead of them, and they believed in God and everything else. But if somebody is doing something that is not on the up and up and making us feel all these emotions, why would they be doing that? It isn't. I don't know that it's necessarily in a positive way, or is it the wagers of war, that war is ugly, and war they're they always say that there's all these mind op things that go on in war and the battle. But it would be wonderful. It would be wonderful if we find out in the end that he is all and well down the road. We know he's all and well if he's passed and he's with our Heavenly Father. Of course we do. But when does it stop? Like, when are these images and the killings and the emotional torment ever going to stop? Because a lot of people haven't talked much about this on the left, and in a positive way. It's been a bad way. So that's where I say that these videos and images and what we experienced with Charlie has completely divided the line. Either you're godly or you're a demon. There's no in between with what we've seen and what we've experienced online with people. And demons hide in. Not every demon has horns and it looks ugly. Demons are going to present themselves as light sometimes.
I will gladly turn her volume down for you, Rebecca. Gladly
no,
turn
I'm
her
sorry.
down.
Oh, maybe he's got me too loud. Tammy's coming in hot. Maybe it's when I raise my voice a little bit.
Gladly turn her down.
He loves if he could just shut me off. But that's the whole thing. It is all so crazy to think about, and it is hard to go down these different roads. But you guys, even when it comes to a passing of somebody we love and care about like Charlie, we still have to keep a logical mind. We have to not be defeated, and I agree with a lot of what Chat's saying. We need to unify, and that's true. But we need to stand up and stand strong. But it doesn't mean we put our blinders on again.
Yeah, I don't want to put my blinders on. That's kind of why I had to turn the emotion off and start looking at this a different angle. That's why I called Jeff. Go ahead.
So I want to add something, and I want people to put this, what we just saw, in a perspective of J6. Think of Ashley Babbitt. Okay? She was, according to everything that we know, she was assassinated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't we see all these photos of Ashley Babbitt like this? Now, granted, the family could have said, hell no, we're not doing this. But this brings in a question of, why are they using this tragedy in this manner, and they didn't use the tragedy of Ashley Babbitt to get this effect against Trump?
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know,
a good
great
point.
question.
That's a really good point. Why now? Why with him? Why? Why at this time? That makes a lot of sense. To ask that question. And we have to remember, I'm going to play this little clip too to compare, because when people say we don't need to be torn apart, I agree with them 100%. And I believe this tragedy in this short amount of time, the 3 days that it's gone on,
It's going to unite us.
Yes.
It's going to continue to unite us.
it's going to continue.
And
Yes.
I think that's the greatest. I think that's the greatest thing coming out of all of this, no matter what. The Charlie effect is real, and the Charlie effect is going to continue to unite this nation. It's going to continue to unite people around the world, and we're all Charlie, right? And
True.
and I love that. I love seeing people start saying, "I'm Charlie Kirk, Kurt. I'm Charlie Kirk." And I've said it because I believe in what he was doing. I believe in the movement. I believe in making America great again. I believe in everybody finding their faith again in God and having that relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's important to me. And that's why I'm here tonight.
And also the I Am Charlie. There are shirts off of Turning Point USA, the website. If you guys buy any shirts, buy it off of the website, because that supports the family and the Turning Point USA program, that it's going to continue, because there's a lot of people on TikTok and other social media platforms that are already selling shirts, but it benefits them, not the family. And this is the comparison that was out there that is really, this shows it in a nutshell. The response to George Floyd versus the response to Charlie Kirk. The difference of how we respond and how they responded. And this says it in basically a nutshell. We have gone to prayer. We have gone to loving one another. We have gone back to our faith.
Can you put that back up, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just keep it up there for a minute while we talk about this.
Okay. Let me take it back. But I think that it's just been incredible when we look at what happened in London, how they're celebrating Charlie. In London, it's over 1 million people that last time I looked were celebrating him. And there are different candlelight vigils and stuff that have broken out. Prayer has broken out. And that's
here in Boise, I think it was Wednesday night. They did a prayer vigil on the Capitol here in Boise, Idaho, and it went national because there was a jackass that come riding through on an electric bike that said "F you, Charlie Kirk," and he got frickin' pummeled, man. They beat the shit out of that guy and sent his ass packing, and then I think he ended up assaulting a police officer and getting arrested. Maybe they had arrested him for his own good to get him the hell out of there. But I want to touch on what Tammy's showing you guys right now. I want you guys to share this. Like, this is the difference between us and people of no faith, people with no moral compass, people with no shame, people who are just violent. When something like this happens, we go to prayer. When something like this happens, we love one another. When something like this happens, we have prayer vigils and people come together. And when the other side, when they celebrate a criminal, when they recognize somebody who has done not the best of things, and I'm not saying that person cannot ask for forgiveness and also follow Christ and change their life, but the difference is they take that for an opportunity to loot, to rob, to hurt people, to walk up to somebody on the street that's wearing a MAGA hat and punch them in the head and knock them out. They burn police stations down. They vandalize vehicles and police vehicles and turn them all upside down, throw rocks at them, and they riot and they stop traffic. Did anyone in the last 3 days stand in the middle of an intersection or an interstate and stop people from traveling? No, we didn't do any of that shit. That's the difference between the Charlie effect and this movement that we are part of versus the radical left. And that should be clear as day. And I just had to say something about that, Tammy.
And that's a very good point. And the realization is a lot of people in chat are saying people have had enough. We're fed up, and they did awake a monster. You never poke the mama bear, the papa bear, and you don't keep poking the bear. And they did, because when you say that people are getting out of hand, people are taking it in their own hands to set it right. And in the legal way, the right way. I'm not talking about violence. We know that. But you know, people have had enough. People are starting to help somebody when they see that they're in trouble. They're starting to do that instead of just turning the other cheek or just picking up a phone to video it. And I think that it's just been a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Okay, here's I believe this is a live memorial right now going on at Turning Point USA. I want to play this for just a. My mic's gonna echo. Just a quick minute here.
Okay.
They're singing right now. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amazing Grace, I think.
I don't see any police cars in the background burning or any buildings burning, and a CNN reporter saying, well, this is a mostly peaceful protest. I mean, these people are here in the evening, flag is flying half-staff, and they're singing Amazing Grace. Has there ever been any type of protest that you guys have seen from the left, from BLM, from Antifa, from the Democrats themselves, where they actually stand out there with American flags and sing Amazing Grace? Have you ever seen them pray during any of their protests? That's a question I'd like to see answers in the chat. If I am wrong, please let me know in the chat and tell me if I'm wrong when you guys see those type of protests.
You know, I want to bring up. I'll wait till this is done. There's an echo.
Go ahead, Jeff. I muted it.
So, I want to bring up 2 points. One, this leads me to think that there's something else going on. Number one, what Donald Trump said shortly after he was informed of this. Trump said, we're going after their money. Who's they and what money are you talking about? And number two, the company's name is Turning Point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is this the turning point of the country?
Right.
Is this a play on words?
I think that it's very interesting that he came up with Turning Point and created that, and then everybody's using as this the turning point for the country. That is 100% given me chills. And to me, it is a very spiritual thing. Some of the things we talked about theory-wise, I think it needed to be done. But the bottom line is this: something is switched, whether you want to talk a timeline, whether you want to talk a spirituality. And once you're there and you see what we have seen, you can't go back, and you do question things. You want to make sure that your moves are in the direction that God would have you move. The things you say and do would please God, that you're following the path that he would have you follow. And stay in touch with him constantly, because with all this uncertainty and all these horrible, tragic things that are happening, you can get thrown off course so very easily. And I agree with what United We Stand says in chat, and says, what effect is this going to have on all these leftists that have been fired? Obviously, they're indoctrinated, they're extreme. They've been screaming and whining because they've lost jobs, not taking accountability and saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said what I said. Some of them backpedal and say, we misunderstood what they were saying against Charlie, but that's not true. But they're actually celebrating murder. So in this day and age, you either celebrate the Lord Jesus or you celebrate murder. There can be nothing more clear than that. That's where we're at, I feel, right now.
I like what Jeff brought up about the turning point, because we talked about the earlier today. How ironic is it that a 21-year-old starts a company called The Turning Point, does that for 10 years? If it was not for Charlie Kirk, I don't believe that Donald Trump would have won as easily in 2024 to be reelected as he did, because Charlie Kirk went out there and got that vote from the young people, and that was a massive vote. So kudos to Charlie Kirk for that. But Turning Point, USA, Turning Point, is this the turning point in America? Is this the turning point of the Great Awakening? Are people waking up at a more rapid pace now than they did in 2019 and 2020, 2021? Are they finally? I mean, I've seen videos where people who are Democrats saying, I went down and registered as a Republican today because I can't be part of this any longer. That's what I would like to ask United We Stand, my brother John Estabrooks. Are people leaving the Democrat Party at a rapid pace because of the evil that is being unfolded in the last few days? That's a question that I have. Go ahead, Jeff, Tammy.
Yeah, so now I'm going to put back on the crazy hat.
Love the crazy hat.
and I'm going to go back to 4chan, which people commonly refer to as the
Oh,
Cuban.
shit, I had something about that tonight, too. Go ahead, Jeff.
Number one, the thing with this incident that stands out to me is where it states the endings will not be for everybody.
I remember that.
Here's something else that I want to add, Jeff and Tammy. I sent this to you earlier tonight. Like I said, I had everything teed up, and then I had to do a stupid reboot on the computer, and it wiped everything out. I sent you guys. Tammy, can you read? And again, this is not to take anything away from Charlie Kirk or anyone else. Can you read the definition of a LARP?
Oh, yeah, I've got it written down right here, mister, because I intended to do that.
I'd like to get Jeff's thoughts on this, too. So let Tammy read the definition of a LARP. LARP.
Yep. So what is a LARP? It's a live action role play, a combination of reenactment storytelling and or gaming. Players are given a role and act out their characters' actions within an overreaching story. So it is an actor that gets a part and a role to play.
Okay, but here's why I want to bring this up tonight. So
live action too, by the way.
There it is there. Speaking of 4chan and all that, if you believe in that special little letter of the alphabet and the drops that they put, I saw it today where one of the deltas was how they, God, I had it, and I think I sent it to you, Tammy. It's in that group chat. I'll summarize it and maybe you can read it, but basically it says, oh, how they work so hard to eliminate the LARP. Something like that, Tammy. Can you read that for everybody? I think it's kind of important, and I'd like to get Jeff's take on this as soon as you hurry up.
Well, this was from X, and it says, why is Charlie's suit unbuttoned? I type button into the Q drops, and it says, so much effort to KILL, a LARP. Nothing to see here, Q.
What's your take on that, Jeff?
I mean, this goes back to what I think I I believe, my personal opinion is, he was asked to do this. If my conspiracy hats on, he was, that's why he's getting the presidential award. That's why
The
he got
treatment.
it. Yes,
The special treatment. That would make sense to me.
correct. And I want to see the outrage from the Democratic side of the aisle if they put him in the rotunda. If we don't get any outrage from the left side of the aisle, everybody's warning bells should go off.
Just real quick too. Sorry, Tammy. Just real quick before we wrap this up tonight. There's one other thing I told people we talk about tonight. I'd like to get both of your thoughts on it. It's something that I had brought up. I talked about it at the very beginning of the show. I mentioned this at the very beginning of the show, and so I will not take credit for this. I got this from somebody else that I don't want to mention because I don't care for them. I think they're full of shit. But they had posted this on X, and so again, Wednesday, Thursday, I pretty much was staying out of the conspiracy swimming pool. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I didn't want to hear it. I was just focusing on what Charlie really meant to me and what Charlie meant to the rest of the world. I was really focusing on all of his good work and how many people he truly touched. And I still am. Listen, I am still all about that. I love everything about it. But when this clown put this out, I'm like, there's no way. This cannot be real. So I personally went to Amazon and I typed in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And boom, it pops up on Amazon right here. This is no shit. This book right here. And I'm going to answer a couple of your questions here. I already did, but I'll answer them again. And so I'm like, okay, all right, this is weird. This is September 11th that this went out. And so it's the day after the 10th, right? And I'm like, how in the hell did they already write a frickin' book about this? And if you read the overview, it talks about the university, the exact university. It talks about, doesn't have the name of the shooter, obviously, but it tells the whole thing. And this is the day after. And so my ass scrolls down to look at the publishing date. Well, the publishing date was September 10th. So, to answer your question, because I'm like, a smoking gun, I got this son of a bitch. We've got him. This book right here above the picture of Charlie, one that says Charlie Cook, the shooting of Charlie Kirk right here. This one was actually published on September the 9th. I think that, who's that guy? No, the other guy I don't really care for too much, the loudmouth.
Alex.
I can't even,
Jones.
Alex Jones. I can't even stand the sound of his voice. Anyway, he picked this up after I put that out there and ran with it. And so this book was published on the 9th. This one is the one in question for me. Like, how in the F do they publish this book right here the day before Charlie? And so I was really puzzled by this. And again, AI can do a lot of things. And so me and my tool partner came to the conclusion that all you have to do is spit in a couple of topics and shit that you want to talk about, and AI will pretty much write the damn book for you. And is that how it happened? I don't know. It's a possibility. I'd like to get Jeff and Tammy's take on it for sure. But Tammy wrote the monologue tonight, and Tammy, maybe you could explain a little bit on maybe how that worked, and if you think that it's possible for them. Well, I know it's possible to write this with AI.
To write it, absolutely 100%. But then you come into the pictures, the covers, and the editing of it. And you reminded me of this, too.
Read the comment from John.
I published a book. It takes 2 weeks to complete the process. That is once you have submitted final edit. Thank you, John.
And that's where we ended up, John.
That's because when you talk about lawyers and what you're saying, and make sure
Editors,
you there you go.
editors,
So
their lawyers. So you got your lawyer, they got their lawyer, you got your editor, they got their editors. I mean, you can write the book with AI, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it goes right to publishing that second. You know, so anyway,
it
go
was
ahead,
it's
Tammy.
just weird. Well, then also one of the comments Patriot Girl put out there that also the books were out before TV news reports, hours before, etc. Now that has also been the same ammo that has happened in other situations too, where it was out before it actually happened. But then what happens is stuff gets taken down, and then they say you're crazy because you can't find it anymore. But a lot
and
of
that
people.
happened too. So as soon as I told Tammy, I sent it to Tammy.
Yep.
She went on there. She couldn't find it. It said, "Oh, oops, there's a problem." And so I went back in, and sure enough, it definitely. They took the one book down that was published on the 9th, I believe. That's the one they really took down. But man, I tell you what, they had to scramble because they were caught. You know, this was circulating after I seen it. I reposted it, and I tell you what, that whole story there was circling the internet big time on Friday. Everybody was putting it out there, just like now everybody's putting out the whole scene with the coffin and the hands.
Yeah.
It just goes viral really quick.
Yeah, Jeff.
So I want to reiterate a statement that was made during the first Trump administration that possibly could bring to light some of this. Do you remember when the Secretary of Defense made the comment to Mike Pence and the NCA staff where Chris Miller stated, "We have been working on the most complex operation in American history"? You remember him making that statement?
Yeah, we forget things, yes, but I remember now. Dang it, Jeff.
And I think possibly, maybe, with my tinfoil hat on, we're witnessing that.
That makes sense because don't forget we have like short-term memory sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
We can't remember all of the details and all of the connections. We do as it's happening and we report it. But then when we have to revisit something 2-3 years later, we forget some major components. And a lot of times people just kind of parrot the sentences they know, and it's true. Just like with the sickness, all that's come out and all that keeps coming out, like we forget the gory details sometimes, and that's, I think, pretty important.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not trying to rush you guys. I just kind of want to give you a little bit of a heads up. If there's anything that you guys would like to lay on the table before we wrap up tonight, it'd be a good time to start thinking about that and thinking about closing statements. But we got time, so go ahead.
Yep. Just as a side note, it looks like Russia possibly is attacking Romania.
No shit. That's not good.
It's just nonstop with them. What is going on? Well, that all fell apart. The whole Putin Zelensky meeting, and then Trump was going to go ahead and join them again if he wanted. They all just went, nope.
Do you see
That's
this comment from Brother John?
Your book must have an ISBN number from the National Library. It took a month and 2 weeks for Amazon. See? So AI or not, there's somebody
that
that's
doesn't make any
published
sense.
books. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Either that or they wrote it before. I mean, what's the chances of that happening, John Estabrooks? I mean, we could believe anything at this point, but them actually writing it 2 weeks prior, which means obviously there was a plan. They knew about it, and was it a good plan? Or a bad plan? I don't know. It just, wow.
Well, and I wanted to, before we get to final thoughts too, ask Jeff this, or maybe you know it. There was a resolution that was filed to let Charlie Kirk lie in state in the rotunda. My question is, who has to approve or disapprove, and where does it go, and how does this happen or not?
I think the ultimate, and I could be wrong, I think the ultimate yay or nay goes to the Speaker of the House.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For what again? I'm sorry.
For Charlie to lay in state for it to get
Okay.
passed or allowed to happen, because they put in a resolution for that to happen. So it's not a
Okay.
done deal.
Yeah, I think it goes to a House vote. But I think the ultimate is with the speaker.
Okay. You guys have anything else that you'd like to put out there?
Nope, I don't.
Jeff?
It's just been one heck of a ride, and I keep
Yeah.
saying that every time we
Wow.
do a show.
All right.
So-
Well, let's roll into final thoughts. We'll let Jeff go first so that he can bail out of here. Jeff, it's 2 hours and plus what we talked today, so we've got a good 3, almost 4 hours in a day, and really appreciate your time
Sure.
and your points of view on everything and the things that you do share with us. We do appreciate that. So, thank you, sir, for joining us. What's your final thought for tonight?
Just 4 words. Are you ready?
Let's have
No.
Save Israel for last.
Dang nabbit, Jeff.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Jeff. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Jeff. Oh my
Have a good
gosh.
evening.
Well,
Tammy?
my final thought is going to be, I think that it's wonderful that people feel love and hope and have a fire in their belly for God and to get justice for Charlie by taking on the torch and keeping God in the forefront and educating our youth, our younger generations, and unifying and having the courage, because it seems like this is the turning point. This is the last straw that broke the camel's back to good over evil. And like I said, you got to pick the side, and people are picking it, and we're seeing who people are. When people show you who they are, believe them. These people on the internet that were laughing or mocking at a murder is just disgusting, disturbing, and when you think it can't get any uglier, it does. So also, if you're feeling pain and you're feeling, I think if you're not understanding why this with Charlie is affecting you so much, which I'm struggling with, I'm like, why is this getting to me so much? I think it's because we're all part of God. We're part of the kingdom, and somebody from our side has been taking out very unfairly, unjustly, a peaceful person, and I think that's what it is.
Well, I appreciate Rob P. His comment here where he says it's called lying in honor for a civilian, not lying in state.
Oh,
So I don't know the difference between the two, but I appreciate the comment. Now that'll give me a place to go and kind of look that up and see what the differences are between the two. So I appreciate the comment for that. I guess my last thought here tonight is just going to be, I really would like to see love over hate. I'd like to see intelligence over ignorance, and I'd like to see people reaching across the aisle, helping one another, and showing common courtesy and just respect for humanity. You know, I think we've lost that too. I also would like to see discourse and the capability of people just having conversation like Charlie showed us, can be done. Like, I don't care if you don't like me and you don't like the material that I put out on this show, you don't have to. But if we can just have a conversation about things, you never know. I've said this since the beginning of this whole thing. My mind can always change. My opinion can always change if you show me fact. If you can show me the information that allows me to make better decisions on those opinions and those things. And I think that's what is healthy. And we don't have that anymore. And Charlie did bring that back across those campuses across America. And he showed us that it could be done. He showed us that even the younger people can be leaders by showing us it can be done. So if those college kids can change their mind and do those things with Charlie, why can't the rest of us do that? And why can't we lead by example? They're leading by example. Why can't we lead that by example? So that's my final thought for tonight is just, man, love over hate. And appreciate you guys showing up tonight and please hit that like button before you leave. I know people are scooting out right now. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to us yet, and share us out. More importantly, we're rebuilding. I don't know when we'll do the next live. I know that was a question. We're I think Harvest Merry Moon. We're trying to get as often as we can, but right now it's kind of end of summer. We've got a lot of stuff going on. I promise you that once things get cold outside, we're going to be in the house a whole lot more, and we'll probably be at least once a week, maybe a little more. So we still got another month or so of work that needs to get done around the house and properties and all the stuff. And so right now we're trying to do it once a week. If it's more than once a week, great, but we don't really have a set schedule at this point. So anytime you can share us out, that would be truly appreciated. And love y'all. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If anything pops off and things get crazy, you can count on us just showing up and giving you any information that we can.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Tammy, for being co-host here and helping drive this bus. It wasn't quite the wreck that I thought it was going to be at the beginning. So
It was all right.
It was a good time. So thank you for that.
Yes, you're welcome. My pleasure.
All right.
All right. Good
Love
night,
y'all.
guys.
Catch you on the next one.